Copenhague. Nous y avons rencontré des gens, le roi du disco, visité beaucoup de musées, on a vu un petit pigeon et beaucoup de vélos. Nous avons rencontré M. Andreas Roll, responsable du programme de vélo à Copenhague.
The Department of Traffic is responsible for the overall traffic planning in Copenhagen. We have two main tasks. One is all the strategic work related to cycle planning in Copenhagen, including, of course, how cycle traffic connects with other modes of transport, how cycling connects with how we do the urban planning in general in Copenhagen. It means we are providing the foundation for political decisions on cycling in Copenhagen. We are the ones that are responsible for describing to the political system what should be done to reach the very ambitious goals we have on cycling in Copenhagen. So that's one of our tasks. The second one is we're monitoring all the cycle-related activities going on in Copenhagen. Everybody working or studying in the city of Copenhagen, no matter how far they live from where they work or go to study, then the bicycle has a market share of around 35%. So the bicycle is the mode of transport with the largest market share of the trips to work and study. And the reason why that's the case is a combination of many things. In the late 70s, there were two things happened. One thing was the oil crisis and all the things connected to that. That made a lot of cities think about how should we have our transport system organized. And the other thing were that in Copenhagen, a lot of citizens went out on the streets and had quite huge demonstrations in front of the city hall in the late 70s, early 80s. Saying to the politicians, hey, you're squeezing out the bicycle culture. We, the people living in Copenhagen, we enjoy going on bicycles. That's the fastest and easiest way for us. You should build on that culture instead of squeezing it out. The bicycle just happens to be an extremely efficient mean to an end, which is a good city to live in for people. But then it just happens that if you have a lot of people using the bicycle to get from A to B instead of using a car or trains or buses, whatever, there's a lot of positive effects for the city. One, of course, is it relieves congestion. The more people you can get on the bikes, the more room you also have for the trips that has to be taken in a car or goods that has to be brought out in a lorry. So the health effect is $1 Canadian per cycle kilometer. And that effect is fall into two boxes. You can say one effect is for the society, because if I cycle, I'm less ill. I can go to work. I'm not at home being ill. I can go to work. Also, I am less ill when I get old. I do not have to be in the hospital, which also costs society money. And the other effect is for me as a person. I value, that's the way you do these things, I value being healthy with an amount. I value being healthy when I get old as well, obviously has a value to me. So that's why the health effect is so great, and also because the fact is some of the best exercise you can do when it comes to health effect is a steady amount of exercise each day. And that's exactly what you get if you take your bike to work in the morning, you go home in the afternoon, and you don't think about it, but you still get the exercise. In fact, there's quite a lot of industry around cycling. It's 1.3 billion Danish kroner is going around and just in shops renting out cycles, repairing cycles, building cargo bikes, which is a very widespread thing in Copenhagen, and small firms producing different stuff for bicycles, etc., etc. So that's another added effect of having a lot of people cycling, and which is especially interesting from the city because a lot of these firms are located in Copenhagen. They're creating workplaces locally. It's not things being imported or being produced far away. And everything we do in Copenhagen is about making cycling the easiest and fastest for the most possible people. and also the most comfortable. And you can say the bicycle is in a competition with other modes of transport, with cars, with buses, with trains. Everything is getting better, more comfortable. And we are putting on the agenda, of course, it also has to be comfortable to go on a bike. And you can do that in many ways. You can take care of the cycle tracks, which is we built in Copenhagen, that they are wide enough so you can go next to your colleague, next to your kid. You can have a conversation when you go on your bicycle, and still there's room for people to overtake you. Pretty much everyone is cycling. If we look at income, gender, occupation, there's no difference. People that earn a lot of money cycles, people that earn less money cycles. Women are cycling, men are cycling, etc., etc. For the city of Copenhagen, identifies 3 areas that are the most important to work with, and it's quite simple. It has to be fast to travel on your bike, it has to be comfortable, and it has to feel safe. And bicycles are no different from other modes of transport. The electrical bike coming onto the market, which makes the distance of 10 to 15 kilometers on a bike even more easy. So the combination of the technology, what is happening with the e-bikes, and our focus on improving the infrastructure also for the regional trips on cycling is one area that we find quite interesting.